Welcome, everybody. Welcome to another interview with Spectora. I have Joey Donofrio here of Donofrio and Associates. Again, I'm Kevin with Spectora, one of the founders. We like to have interesting guests on the show from the industry. I'll let him introduce himself. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks, Kevin. Thanks for having me on the show. It's an honor to be on here. I'm Joey Donofrio. I have a small inspection company, Donofrio and Associates Property Inspections. We're based out of Northern Virginia. Currently right now we have 10 licensed inspectors. I have 2 inspectors in training. And then on Monday, which is March 5th, I have 3 more new hires coming on board that we got to get set up with Spectora and that are going to be ready to start. And typically our training is about 3 months. So the goal in about 3 months is to have 15 licensed inspectors that service the DC, Maryland, Virginia, and West Virginia area. And that's kind of where we are right now. Overall, we'll have about 29 employees, so almost 30 employees, because there's a lot of behind the scenes. When I say inspectors, I don't include the radon technicians that we have. We have 2 of those. I have 2 marketing people. And then my wife's in the business, so business development and all that stuff. So totals out to be about 29 people, which is crazy to think about.
It is, and I love your humility, your small little operation that you have going on there. So I'm sure everyone will appreciate that. And to everyone out there, I wanted to have Joey on because we love everything he's about. He's a humble, hardworking business owner, and I think a lot of pretty much any size of inspector firms can learn something from him, whether you're a 3 or 4 man shop wanting to get to that next level, 7 to 8, or if you're a 1 man shop wanting to become a multi. And so we'll get into a lot of everything from training to processes and everything like that. But we'll start at the beginning here, Joey. I'm curious personally what the beginning stages of Donofrio and Associates looked like. How did you get into business?
So that's a great question. So actually it's a family-owned business. My dad and my brother are also owners in the business. My dad started the business in 2001. So I kind of grew up in the business, in the home inspection industry. He did it more because he was he was general manager of a company that got bought out, and he had a technical background. They sold basically AC units for computer rooms, the company that he's general manager of. So he had mechanical systems background. And he was out. I watched literally my dad in middle school. I watched my dad out of a job for about 6 months trying to figure out what he wanted to do. And he said, why not? A friend of his said, why not get into home inspection? You have the background. And so literally I just watched my dad for about 6 months without a job and then start this home inspection business, and literally would just go out to real estate offices trying to get business. And then all of a sudden started picking up, and he just started doing home inspections. Me and my brother were in high school about a year in, at the time of him doing the home inspection. So it was more just a job for him. Like when it was his own business, but he was employed by himself. Right. And when my brother graduated college, I watched him just hop into the business. My dad's like, hey, I need your help. We're so busy. It's springtime. And he hopped in. And then when I graduated college, when I started college, I'm like, I don't want to do home inspections. I don't want to go do it. Yeah, I work with you enough. I don't want to do it. And then I hopped in, and we were lucky enough to keep all 3 of us fairly busy, just through the word of mouth. You know, when you grow a little bit and you have a good reputation, the word of mouth grows too. You don't even realize. And so we ended up being very, very busy, doing 6, 7 inspections a day. I was doing 3 and 4 working 6, 7 days a week, doing 3 to 4 inspections a day. And I look on some of these inspection forums, and people are like struggling just to do 1 a day, you know?
Right.
3 and 4, it was crazy. Quality of life wasn't really that great. When I was single, it was great. But then I got married. I met my wife, got married, and I met a couple that said, dude, you need to like do something different. And really, they were harping on personal growth. And I really so I really started down that journey of personal growth. And I realized very quickly if I wanted to change, I could always leave the industry I was in. I could always go get another job, do something different. But I'm like, or I could get around other people, find like a mentor, if you would, other people that are growing the business and see what they're doing and then try to duplicate what they're doing. And so it was October 2015. So we started 2001, really didn't grow because my dad just never had the vision to grow. So 2015, I said, I'm going to this inspection conference. So literally me and my wife went to Las Vegas. I think it was like the World Inspection Conference in Las Vegas. And I was looking around and I saw these guys that had 4, 5, 6 inspection firms. And I'm looking at them. I'm like, it just gave me belief that if they could do it, I live in DC, Maryland, like the DMV area, one of the best areas for real estate. Why can't I do it? Why can't we do it? And that's what spurred the growth. So it really came down to me growing myself as a person first, to become the individual that was able to grow, or not even become the individual, build the confidence to say, hey, yeah, I'm younger, but if I can get the reins from my dad and the okay in the head, and he's letting me do it, why can't I do it? And it really just came down, got back October. It was October 2015. In November, we hired our first outside of family inspector, which was outside of me, my dad, my brother. And then from there, we went to 8 inspectors. So in end of 2016, we had 8. We ended up losing a couple because that's what happens.
Yep.
And then 2017, we ramped up again to we had about 7 licensed outside of myself. So 8 with me. Then we just hired a new batch that came on. And so when they fully come on and all of them get licensed, we hired in November. So our slow season, we hired people when money's tight.
Right.
I said, no, we got to hire them slow because it's going to be busy in February. And I never want to be falling behind like 2017 we did. When we lose 2, because you never know who you're going to lose or what's going to happen, who you might have to let go. And so now we're on pace to have 12 licensed inspectors. Probably in the next month, we'll have 12. And then I have new hires coming on. So we have 10 licensed, 2 in training that are going to get licensed within the month. And then 3 more hires typically it's a 90-day training period for us before they're out and they're on their own. Everybody's different, but typically we try to get them ready in 90 days. So that's kind of how it happened quickly.
What a story. So you went to 8 in 1 year. So you went from the 3 of you and your family to 8 inspectors in 1 year in 16.
Yeah. So we grew. Really, we really tried to market. 2016. It's funny. You have 3 people that are really busy. You start adding slowly, right? Or you add an inspector, and then all of a sudden they end up being busy because your availability increases, so you have them busy. Then you get to 5, and all of a sudden they're busy. Then you get to 6, and they're busy, and then you get to that point where you're like, oh no, it's gonna run out. Now you need to have a marketing system in place to market, to get in front of the agents, to get the presentation. To maybe you're doing Yelp and all that stuff. You need to get on social media if you're not. And so you start really focusing in on the processes and systems of the marketing, because ultimately that's going to drive your business. And so that's what we ended up having to do. We ended up having to get a marketing person, and so we could have the business coming in. For a short while, as we grew rapidly, you got to answer every phone call. So I used a call center. Because we had one person answering the phones, we switched to a call center, and that, I think that helped our business. But when we did that, we lost customer service because it was a call center. There was no control over who they're hiring. How are they going to answer my phones? That's the biggest thing. I want to be somewhat in control in the training process, so they can answer it the way that I would prefer them answering. So they have the quality of customer service that you desire as a business owner. But it worked out for temporarily, and then I realized quickly it might be more expensive to hire a TC team. We need to hire a TC team because our customer service is going down. And yeah, we're answering every phone call. Business picks up, but we're going to reach a plateau and so we ended up making a decision to hire, at that time, 3 transaction coordinators to answer the phones that we could train, and that ended up being now I look back, ended up being a huge blessing. The the more, even though it was more expensive, it was totally worth it.
I love it. And I love the high emphasis you just even placed on customer service and controlling that experience. Something I think is still underrated in a lot of businesses that I talk to and hear about. I want to go back to something. You went to Vegas in 15. What were some of the things that you came away from that saying, I'm going to go back and implement this tomorrow or next week? Because obviously you hit massive, ridiculous growth after that. So you came back with something good.
Yeah. And you know what, a lot of, I still go to after going to the Vegas in 2015, I try to go to at least an annual conference, whether it's an inspection conference, business growth conference, because you're gonna have information overload. It happens. There's gonna be tons of great information that you hear, and I think a lot of what happens to a lot of people, unfortunately, didn't happen to me, because I guess I was at a point where I needed the change, right? I needed my why, my outcome. I needed to do something different. So when you go to those conferences, you're going to have a bunch of information. I always tell people that get 2 or 3 things that are going to really drive your business forward from those conferences. Take 2, maybe even less than 3, 1 to 3 things that you're going to come back and you're going to implement the day you get back, or the day, but don't wait too long, because then you'll fall into the routine. We're all creatures of habit. Then you'll fall back into the habits that you were doing. So take very little information. Because it's going to be a lot, and pick maybe on the flight home or the drive home, pick the 2 to 3 things, rate them. This is number 1, this is number 2, this is number 3, and only focus on those 3 things for the next 6 months to a year, and really get good at those and take action. The last thing you can do at a conference is go there, come back, and don't take action. If I'm saying the best quality that I have is I take action whether I'm ready to or not. And action, whether it's 50% ready or 100%, the 50% is still better than nothing. And I just took action and just hired people. It was funny because I was hiring people. Probably the first 3 or 4 people, maybe 5 people I hired next, they didn't have the right hiring paperwork. I wasn't making copies of their driver's license, passports, all the stuff you're supposed to do. I just had never done it before. So I didn't know what was required. I had no HR department. We were the HR department.
Right.
And as we hired a lady, and she's now like the GM of our company. She got promoted to general manager this year. And she called us out. She's like, "Hey, I'm supposed to be filling out this other piece of paperwork, and you're supposed to be taking copies of my license and stuff." And I'm like, "Oh, really? What paperwork do we need?" Okay, cool. So that goes to show, as you hire people, the more heads you have, the better it is, right? And so we just kind of learn through it. Growth exposes your weaknesses more than anything else. Like, you think you, as a 1-man shop, 2-man shop, you got it going on, add 3 or 4 or 5 people, and you realize, oh, I'm actually weak in some areas. And we realized quickly within that year, that 2016 year, oh my God, we had scheduling errors. We were not showing up to inspections. It was like the world was crumbling around us.
Yeah.
But and there was times where, like, is it worth it? Oh my God. Oh, what did this guy do? And then you're training people, you're managing people. It exposed you. But if you get through that storm, there's going to be another one down the road. But if you can get through the little storms, you become a lot stronger and a lot better because of it. So don't be afraid of the storm, because it's going to happen. Even if you think you have it all set up perfectly, you are going to come across obstacles. Push through. There is a light at the end of the tunnel. Once you get out of the tunnel, you're probably going to go into another tunnel. It's the nature of it. You think it's going to be easy. It's never is. As you grow, you realize, wow, I'm dealing with people now. So I'm managing people. It's not just myself. So you have to, ultimately, I think as you grow and you start taking action, you need to keep growing yourself through, whether it's audiobooks, success principles, because that's going to build you up as a leader. And the business, whatever you're in home inspections, is only going to be as strong as the leader. And so you owe it to your people that you're paying, that are relying on you to keep business coming. You owe it to them to be the leader that you need to be. So don't think, I had in my head, oh, I'm going to grow this thing and then I'm going to sit on an island and somewhere and I'm just going to run. No, it's not really how it works.
That's never how it works.
No, never how it works. But, there are some benefits to growing, that I don't need to be doing inspections. So there's a plus side, but to really cultivate and really grow, it's going to be hands-on, especially the first couple years. I mean, we're only 3 years in. And I promoted a general manager and she does a lot and she's great and she's amazing, but I'm still involved daily in the business. I can take vacations now where maybe before I couldn't without something going wrong. But that's kind of how it works and how it happens.
I love it. And there's so many takeaways here, so many different directions we can go. Taking action, I think, is one huge theme here, because inspectors will call and we'll talk about where they're going with their marketing software, and there's analysis paralysis that happens with so many inspectors. They plan for the future, but diving in, and as a software startup ourselves, we are very well versed in saying sometimes you got to wade into those waters without knowing what's on the other end, and you can always pivot. You can always iterate. There's a tendency for some inspectors, I think, to think you do things the way you've always done it and you stick to what has worked in the past instead of constantly trying to improve. So I think that self-improvement piece is huge, and it's hard to teach that. It's a hard thing to teach. I think you mentioned seeking out mentors, going to conferences, something I think everyone should be doing. By the way, will you be going to Atlantic City by any chance? There's an InterNACHI conference.
Yeah, I will. I can't wait to hear you speak.
We'll have a beer. All right.
Nice.
Or a non-alcoholic beverage.
But
all great stuff. You talked about just diving in and hiring. I know a question I always get is, gosh, do I hire someone before I have the volume, or do I go out and hit these offices and get slammed with volume and then hire someone? The chicken before the egg thing, like, how did you approach that when it was like, hey, I'm starting to ramp up, hire, go get more business?
I think if you're busy and you're doing 300 to 400 inspections a year, and you don't have somebody out marketing full time, I think that is the time where you need to think about hiring somebody else, relieve some of your duties so you can go out and market your business. Any people sometimes, and I see it on the inspection forums a lot, they get hung up on the inspection. And you need to have a good product. You need to have value to the product that you're putting out there. You need to have a differentiator of your business. What separates you from the next home inspector? So you need to have a great product, but it doesn't have to be like you don't have to be doing the best home inspection in the world, right?
Right.
It's got to be a good solid home inspection, but you gotta have that differentiator. So when you go to the marketplace and you go out to market, people are like, wow, you do that? Oh, cool. You do that. And you're not selling them. You're just sharing them what makes you different. And they're sold automatically. So you're not being like, yeah, we're the best. I hate going out and doing a presentation and telling them how great we are. I always make it a point to, hey, this is what separates us. And this is how, and then I share something to that group of agents to add value to them in their workplace. Maybe it's something about mold, about mold inspectors and mold remediation companies. Maybe it's something about new licensing laws or new inspection laws. I want to leave them with information that they didn't know before. So they say, wow, he taught me something. He wasn't just boasting about his company. He left me something of value now that I can use. And when they go to share that with maybe another realtor, maybe the home inspector that they're using, they're going to think of me. And maybe I need to call that guy. He knows something. But you have to be marketing your business. If you want to grow it and maybe you're not working 6-7 days a week yet, but you want to grow, you got to go out and market. You got to find ways to get in front of people. Social media is free, right? You have to have a Facebook page, a Twitter page, an Instagram, all that. And you have to be posting regularly. You may say, well, I can't pay someone to do that. Good. Do it yourself. There's a thing called Google that tells you how to do it. We have the information to do it. And yeah, you might have to do it when you get home from work. You might have to do it in the morning. There's softwares that you could set it so you could work 2 hours on your social media. Then it will automatically post weekly or daily for you for the next month.
Yep. So Facebook has posts that you can set up for the future. Hootsuite will target all that and send it out.
Yeah. There's ways to do it. You need to be capturing emails. So if you're a one-man shop and you are not on Spectora or a company like ISN that can track data and collect emails for you, I don't know what you're doing. You need the contacts. You need to be able to send out mass emails. You need to be able to communicate with your audience. You look at any industry leader, and this is why you need to go to conferences and get around people. They send out mailers. They send out emails. You get emails from them all the time. If they're doing it and they're the biggest leaders in their industry, shouldn't you be doing it, especially if it's free to do that or it's already part of the software package you're doing? You have to be doing that stuff. And again, it's probably information overload, but if you set it up right from the start, when you're the one-man shop, it makes it so much easier. When we grew and I went to that inspection conference, that was our first time having an inspection software where we did our scheduling through. We were using Google to schedule inspections. I have no data before 2015 on average inspection fees, any of that. That's all like new stuff for us in the last 3 years. But I think we don't even have contact information. I have business cards that we scanned in Excel spreadsheets. Now I have like probably over 7,000 realtors on my database. That's powerful. That's a network that is huge. And I can send an email to them right now if I wanted to all of them. So you got to make sure your business is set up for all those little things. And I kind of went off, but.
Yeah, no, and you hit on something I want to reiterate, because we talk to new inspectors, we talk to experienced inspectors, and they think marketing is synonymous with telling people how great you are. And I want to specifically point out to everyone out there that you said provide value, provide information, share, like these words of this is not sales, this is education, and it's sales by not selling. We call it anti-sales sales, because you're just providing good value. And I think we'll get into the specific question later about agent presentations. So many inspectors are going about it wrong because they're stomping in there saying, I'm going to inspect 8,000 items. Here's why we're great. Instead of saying, hey, here's some updated regulations or laws, or hey, here's something you probably didn't know about mold or radon. And it's just a whole mindset shift. And so it's a tough thing to teach, but if we can get across to anybody, you're hearing it from one of the best here. So
yeah, well, and I think, and that's why like personal growth is essential, because I see business owners, I see realtors that are trying to grow teams, home inspectors are trying to grow teams, and they're their own worst enemy because they don't get out of their own way. They make excuses like, oh, I could never do 2 inspections in a day because I spend 5 hours. I could never do 3 inspections. I could never do this because, and they give a reason. Well, there's other people doing it, and they're doing it effectively. They're doing a great inspection. And, I'm not saying that my way is the best way. It's probably not. What you as an inspector can offer is different than what I can offer. You're a different person. That's what makes us unique. You're going to have a unique business. You're going to have your way to doing it. But I guarantee that I could probably learn something from that inspector, and they could learn something from me. And I think what personal growth makes you realize is how much we don't know. And I remember opening up the door to personal growth, and I'm like, wow, I know so little. And it's like the saying, the guy who knows it all knows nothing, right? And you realize, wow, I could learn from everybody, whether they're a 5-person team just starting out. Maybe they're doing something that I'm not doing that I'm like, wow, dude, that's a great idea. So your mindset is key, because if your mindset's expanded, you start noticing opportunities that you didn't notice before. And that helps you grow. That helps you get outside of, hey, maybe my 1 5-hour inspection a day, maybe there's a better way. Am I using Spectora? Am I using a software where I can deliver the report right after the inspection, or maybe an hour later, because the technology's there? Am I in a set routine? Am I taking control of am I dictating the control of the inspection, or is the client? Am Am I looking at things I'm supposed to be? Am I calling out code issues when I shouldn't be calling out code issues? Maybe you're doing something that isn't necessary for what home inspection is supposed to be. So when I look at forums and I hear guys saying, "Oh, it takes me 5 hours. I don't know how you guys do an inspection in 3 hours." That's all I know how to do, right? And yeah, my first inspection took me like 4.5 hours. But if you have the routine and if you can learn from somebody that's done it, why wouldn't it for me, it doesn't make sense. Why wouldn't you learn from somebody? So I think people can be their own worst enemy because they make excuses, because they're not willing to learn. They think that if I'm doing a 2 or 3 hour inspection, that I'm ripping people off or I'm scamming people. Then I'm going to have a lawsuit.
You're clearly doing something right. And I think the answer to your question is partly humility. I think, it's an industry where not everyone feels they can learn from others or have that openness. It takes a certain mentality. And so not everyone has that, and it's hard to teach. So I commend you for having that. And that's clearly how you've been able to grow. And from an agent perspective, I was an agent for a lot of years. That type of humility in a business partner, it's game over. I'm sending you all my business because of that openness and that business relationship. It feels good to do business with people like that, not the guy that's curmudgeon-y and just tells me how, yells at me and tells me this is the way I do it, my way or the highway. We're a business partner. And so half the people this may not resonate with, but I think that humility and openness, gosh, that's how you grow a business.
Yeah.
Great stuff.
Yeah, and I when I'm doing presentations too, I said, I love feedback, I love our good reviews, but I love bad reviews. Bad reviews is the only way I'm going to grow. And I've had agents come up to me and tell me about a bad experience after a presentation, say, "You know what? I really believe everything you're saying, but let me tell you about this experience I had with your company." And I'm like, "I am so glad you told me this. I'm so glad you brought this to my attention, because now if that inspector's still with me, I can use it as a growth opportunity for my team. And not only am I going to mention it to this inspector, I'm gonna bring it up at our bi-week or every 2-week meeting, and we're gonna go over this. I'm not gonna throw the inspector under the bus. I'm gonna say, hey guys, we found out there was a complaint that came in from, this agent. This is what happened, and we're gonna learn that as a growing opportunity. That's all we can do. But I tell people it's not if a home inspector is going to make a mistake, it's when they're going to make a mistake. And I'm open about that as I'm presenting to realtors. But when we make a mistake, it's our duty. If I miss something that I should have found on a home inspection, it's my duty to make it right.
Yeah.
Right. I shouldn't hide behind my inspection agreement or be crummy. Treat people how you want to be treated. And I think the world works itself out. If you offer a good quality product, you're adding value to people, you're adding value to a partnership with a realtor, and you tell them, hey, I can guarantee one thing. My company's going to make a mistake. But when I do, I'm going to make it right. And you don't need people in your corner when things are going bad or good. You need people in your corner when things are going bad. Character is so hard to judge when things are going good, but you throw diversity at somebody and you see their true colors. Asshole.
Transparency. And so if you mentioned takeaways, anyone that's listening to this that struggles with presentations or getting new business, think about how transparent you're truly being. I know there's the allure to go into agent meetings and say, hey, we're great, we're never going to make mistakes. That transparency is endearing. People understand it. What a great takeaway. I love the transparency angle.
Yeah, and I think people respect you. You become real when you say, I make mistakes. I'm a human. So do you. You know what? But you know what I can say? When I make the mistake, I'm going to learn from it, and I'm going to grow from it, and it won't happen again. Or it better not happen again. If it happens again, then I have a talk with that inspector. Like, hey, dude, this can't happen again. It's already happened twice. But again, our guys will make mistakes. You'll make mistakes, as long as they're not like intentional. Like you blatantly didn't do something you were supposed to do. You can't get mad at somebody for that.
Yeah, exactly. Going back to the hiring first versus marketing first. Say you're a one-man shop again, you're starting to get more business. Say you're in that 100, 200 a year range. You're thinking you're ready to hire. do you hit a bunch of agent offices first, or do you get someone on board, or are you interviewing while you're ramping up the volume? Just to give someone out there listening some direction as to a mindset. And there may not be a white or black answer here. I get it. It's very situational.
Yeah. So I think, hiring you're only going to be talking with people, I know we do 3. So we do a phone interview, we do a meeting where they meet our team lead inspector, and then they meet me if it all goes well. So we have 3 rounds of hiring. That hiring process, on interviews, they last 30 minutes to an hour when you're interviewing somebody. So it doesn't take much time because you're advertising on social media. You're advertising word of mouth. There's Monster. There's tons Craigslist. There's tons of different ways that you can advertise online, and that's how pretty much primarily we do it. Facebook and social media. That's our main way. So but you should be marketing. I think what happens is a lot of inspectors during the busy season, they lay off the marketing because they're busy doing inspections.
Right.
And then it starts to slow down, so they start marketing again. Well, you missed out. The reason why you're probably slowing down is because you're not marketing when you're busy to make up and getting that business for the winter time. So marketing really should never end. If you're growing your business, you need to be marketing 365 days a year. So that should if you're not marketing, you need to be marketing, because you can still take an hour out of your day to just phone screen somebody, or 30 minutes out of your day to phone screen somebody. But for the one-man shop that's out there, I would always have literature in your car, maybe they're brochures or of your company, and in between your inspections, hit up the offices where the area that you're going to be in. Have a sample report ready so you could show them a sample. Our marketing people carry around iPads, and we have a PowerPoint presentation about our company. So if I'm trying to get a presentation, or they're trying to get a presentation, they can show them a little 5-minute presentation on their iPad that gets us in the door, right? So, always never be shy to ask, hey, I'd love to come in here and do a presentation and let you know how I can add value to your agents. I think they would really appreciate what I can bring to the table for them. And most people, a lot of people say yes. Yeah, there's going to be people that say no. Oh yeah, give me your contact, But especially if you can follow up, email. Some of our marketers, they get presentations just by calling offices, never even showing up there, just by making a phone call. Oh yeah, we'd love to have you in. Yeah, well, when we offer to pay for lunch and do that stuff. Yeah. So they're getting a free meal. So who turns down food? But that gets us in the door. So marketing, whether it's calling offices, visiting offices in between inspections, if you're not doing that and your plan is to grow or not go out of business in a recession, you need to be doing it.
Definitely.
The companies that fail in an economic downturn are the ones that are relying off their word of mouth. And you cannot rely off word of mouth when the economy turns. You need to have a marketing process and systems in place. I think Tony Robbins shared that too. Because if you do, you might just sustain through that economic. Maybe you'll drop a little bit, but you'll come out so much stronger because you didn't turn off the marketing. You didn't turn off what's feeding and fueling your business, which is ultimately sales and marketing, right? So if you're not doing it in your one-man shop, you need to be doing it if your plan is to grow.
Absolutely. Great stuff.
Part of your daily thing.
And times have been good in a lot of markets, and I think there can be a tendency to not think about the next downturn. It's something as business owners we always have to be thinking about, of how to build quality relationships to withstand times of less demand and less supply.
Yeah, and that's as a business right now. As we grow, expenses grow, payroll grows. You always have to be prepared for the downturn, but I'm at a point now where we're getting close to being prepared. So I'm ready for it. And I'm almost, I don't want to say I'm excited about it, but I'm at a point where I'm hoping if it does happen, we can sustain it and then we ramp up. And I think Tony Robbins was talking about all these companies that have grown massive. They grew massive after an economic downturn.
Yep.
They launched out, they grew rapid, and I'm like, oh my God, we could like double our, if we're at 15 inspectors when this happens, we could go up to 30 in a year. We could go up to, because the single man shops that are relying on the word of mouth are gonna go crickets, and they're gonna be out of work, and hopefully their spouse has some income, but they're gonna go out of crickets, and it's gonna be the people that are marketing that are gonna pick up that business.
Yep.
So
What do your presentations look like? Do you come in with slides? Do you typically just go off the cuff speaking?
So for me, I have slides, but if I'm only given 5 to 10 minutes to tell about our company, I don't bring slides. So I just tell them, hey, this is what separates our company from other home inspectors, and I give them the list, and then I go over. We have 100% satisfaction guarantee. So if we make them, if our inspector is not liked on the inspection, or the realtor agent don't like them, same day we'll refund the money. And then after I go over the warranties, I tell them, hey, most people ask if this is just to protect me in case I make a mistake. It's not it at all. This is the warranties that we offer as part of our home inspection are just to add value to what we bring to the table. So when you refer business to us, there's value there. And then I go into the spiel. It's not if a home inspector is going to make a mistake, it's when we're going to make a mistake. I can guarantee one thing: we will make a mistake on your home inspection. But I know this: we will make it right. And then I give an example of a time where we made a mistake and we paid a lot more money than the home inspection fee to make it right for those clients. And people are like, "Oh my God, you did what?" And I said, you don't need me in your corner when things are going well. You need people on your team you can rely on when things don't go well, when things hit the fan, when you have that pain in the neck client, when you have something bad happen, you need to be able to say, hey, call Donofrio and Associates, and I know they're going to take care of you. And that's my little 5-10 minute spiel after we go over the value added stuff. And I feel like it brings realism to it, right? I mean, people are like, wow, this guy's genuine. He's telling me he's going to make a mistake. Like, are you crazy? No one does that,
Who does that? This is great, because we work on value props with a lot of inspectors when we're making their websites for them. So we'll say, what are your main value props? What separates you? No one ever says honesty and transparency, which is this is a lesson to everybody. It's like, reevaluate what the heck you do that's truly unique and above and beyond, because what you just said, a lot of people will not say and go there. So that speaks volumes about a true value proposition.
Yep. Yeah, exactly.
What would you say, what would you do more and less of in your first year? And I know your company's been around a while, but I'm saying that first year of maybe growth. So like, let's look at 15 or 16 and through the lens of either first year, second year, third year inspector, what would you do more and less of?
So I think, I would have done more marketing during the busier seasons to prepare for the off seasons. Because, as you get busy and you're overwhelmed and you're doing, it is hard to market. It is. And you think that you don't need to market during the busy times, and you really do. So we kind of harped on that. Make sure that you're carrying insurance. If you're not, general liability, errors and omission, make sure your agreements are very good. Make sure you have a lawyer. It pays to do that. Just because you don't want to have to go to court and do all that stuff. I've seen inspectors go out of business because they didn't have a good agreement, or maybe they didn't sign an agreement and they had to pay $100 and some $1,000 and they don't. So I didn't have, when we first started, I didn't have a good non-compete. So I had a good agreement, but not a good non-compete. So the first outside inspector we had thought he could do it our way and go out and make a living on his own. And so he was with us for 2 years and then got out. And I wish my non-compete would have been better. But again, it didn't phase us. I could have wasted energy on that negativity, going after him, taking him to court, but there's always going to be scavengers. There's always going to be people that are going to try to hold you back, and you got to be so above that. You know, for me to spend $20,000 on a lawsuit because I counsel with a lawyer, I'd rather spend $20,000 growing the business. I'd rather spend, you know what I mean? And leave him so far in the dust that he doesn't know what hit him. Because ultimately, it was more of an emotional thing for me. Like, I'm like, dude, I hooked this guy up and this jerk ran off with some of my business and was telling realtors that I was a jerk. So, you know, it was one of those nasty things. And you're just like, I want to screw him. But at the same time, that's wasted energy from what my ultimate goal, my mission. And that's wasted money towards my mission. So what I can say at the end of the day, I spent $20,000 and I stuck it to a one-man shop when I'm trying to grow to 10, 15 people, do 5,000 inspections in a year. Like,
bigger fish to fry, I believe.
Yeah, So don't make emotional decisions. Make business decisions. When you're hiring people, you're gonna hire bad people. How do you prevent that? I am the buyer. They're selling me on why they need to come work for me. Don't ever, ever, ever. And I know sometimes you're anxious to get another person. Don't ever be convincing somebody that they need to come work for you. Oh man, I got a great package. I can hook you up, man. 50%. If you are doing that, then you don't value what you are doing, and you don't value the job that you are willing to let somebody come in, and you don't value the company that you're trying to build. If I'm in an interview, they better be telling me why they need to come work for me and convincing me why I need to hire them. If it goes the other way, you need to posture. You say, hold on one second. And then you need to stop them and go back to the questions that you have listed. So this isn't a guarantee. I said, I don't need you. I said, I'm looking for the right person. If you're not it, then I'm moving on. And don't be afraid to say no to somebody in an interview. Don't think that you just have to take them through the process and hire them. We've hired, listen to your gut, listen to red flags that show up. That's why you want to maybe do a phone screening before meeting them. Make sure you prepare them. Make sure they know the training that it takes to become a home inspector. Make sure you have all that they're prepared for it. You don't want to start training somebody. Oh, I didn't think it was going to be like this. Make sure you prepare them. We don't do ride along. So if I hire somebody, they're not riding along with me until they get hired and they start training. So because they know the training, they know we lay it all out for them of what it is. I just don't want somebody coming through an interview process wants to do a ride along and then wants to go out and on his own and do inspections. And I know you can make them sign non-competes, but I want to have control over them and have that and the non-compete sign, all that stuff. And if they're going to start seeing our operation behind the scenes, how we do things, what kind of maybe separates us from the other inspectors, they better be working with us and not just riding along. So posture on interviews is huge. And we've been very fortunate. We've only had to, I think, fire maybe 3 or 4 people out of the 29. So very, very lucky. We've hired great people. And I think, part of it may be luck, but a lot of it is the interview process that we take them through, that we're never convincing somebody to come work for us. If I'm sitting at an interview and somebody shows up a minute, and it's 2:00 and they're meeting me out for an interview, or they're coming to our office and it is 2:00, I get up, and they're supposed to be there too. I get up and leave. If they can't be on time or at least warn me that they're going to be late, then I don't hire them, So, and you learn that you wait 5 minutes and you realize, wow, I should have never waited 5 minutes, because this guy, if he really wanted the job, think about it. If you had a job that you really wanted, would you be late to that interview?
Heck no.
Hell no. So you better value the job that you're applying. This better not just be, no, I'm just trying to work. I just need the job. I just need money. No, this better be something that you're passionate. You can't wait to come do it. You're excited. You're fired up. You can't wait to go out in the field. Those are the people that I want. And I think you got to make sure you have your hiring process down and never be convincing people to come work for you.
Great feedback. And I've spoken with people in your company, and you get quality people because you really manage that process. So For those mid multis out there, just growing multis, this is good stuff because I think it's overlooked. I think it's stuff that's overlooked. Do you care if what someone's background is? Do you feel a construction, handyman, plumbing, whatever background is essential to being a good home inspector, or do you like maybe guys with a business background or someone that?
That's a great question. So whenever we hire somebody, it's all comes down to customer service. How customer oriented are they? So I asked them to explain to me, tell me about a time when you had a difficult customer, or maybe you had to deal with a difficult person. What did you do? How'd you handle it? And how'd you resolve the issue that they were dealing with? And that tells me how they can handle that, tells me a lot about them. You know, what we do, and this is where I see it on the inspection forums all the time, people think you need to have all this technical expertise, and to a certain degree, all that can be kind of taught. What I can't teach is how people handle people. You know, we're in a people business, but we just happen to be doing home inspections. If somebody likes my inspector, they're less likely to complain about them than if a guy that does a great home inspection, but maybe he's rough and gruff and he doesn't understand the customer service side of it. People are going to like my inspector better than that guy. And my guys are doing a great inspection, so I'm not belittling their inspections, but it's all customer service. Whether I'm hiring a TC, an inspector, it's because the home inspection for us is an educational experience, and they need to be encouraging questions. They need to like people. They need to be able to, you know, talk with people and mingle with people and get them to like them. They have such a short window when they meet you up that inspection to get them to like them. And that's really what I care about. So we've hired contractors, we've hired former people in construction, handymen, but we've also hired people that had never had inspection experience before in their lives. So, and all of them, and a lot of them are still working with us that didn't have previous construction background, and they do a fabulous job. So you don't need to have a construction background. I think a lot of times you have contractors or construction guys get into the home inspection business, and if they're not trained properly, I think they can tend to scare people, and they can tend to point out issues that really are not home inspection related. They're more maybe like building code related. And in our state in Virginia, if a home inspector is not even allowed to cite code on a home inspection report, because home inspections really are not code inspections; they're functionality inspections. Right. So we could get fined if a realtor saw us cite code on a home inspection. They could fine us if they sent our report to the state. The state could then fine that inspector for citing code. So, you know, if we do have a contract, we hired a guy that was he used to be a county inspector, and we had to like unlearn some of that stuff. We had to teach him how to communicate some of the stuff to the people, and he's a great inspector. He got on quick, but it was more, he knew his stuff, but it was more training him how we present things, how we, you know, what are we looking for? What are we not looking for? Hey, you don't need to tell people that on a pre-drywall because that's really not a home inspection related item. So stuff like that. So it's the training is a little bit different because he's unlearning some stuff because he already knows the stuff. So it's like taking a little rewind and being like, no, don't say that.
I love that you mentioned the people business. It's a people business. It's customer service business that gets lost. And I do think the new model, and we're seeing a lot of great young inspectors, companies like yourself that are really blowing up because they focus on the people element. It's an emotional process. It's an emotional purchase. Like you said, a lot of ex-contractors aren't trained with the emotional intelligence or the EQ to get there. What could someone do to learn these things? Like, how do you practice your emotional cues and intelligence? You know, how do you, for the guys that maybe that doesn't come naturally, it's a tough thing to teach, I imagine.
Well, you know, I think, and I'm going to go back on this. It all comes down to personal growth. If you are starting a business, you need to start reading, listening to business, entrepreneur podcast, success principle podcast, because ultimately that gives you confidence. If what you're feeding your brain with gives you confidence, believe it or not, it's so true. You know, I didn't really read much growing up. I'm gonna be honest. I played baseball, did all that stuff. I've read more books since I've gotten out of college and in the last 3 or 4 years that it's like, oh, I didn't even need to go to school to know this, to know the stuff that I know, right? So
Yeah.
or to have the confidence to get up, and it's helped me with speaking in front of people, doing all that stuff. If you read consistently every day for a year, I promise you, you will be your emotional intelligence, you will be so much better off. Just 1 year of taking a book 15 minutes a day, maybe just before you go to bed, you'll shock yourself because you'll start talking to people and you'll be saying things and you'll be like, wow, I'm different. Or you'll hear other people and you'll be like, wow, I'm growing and I can tell, and so I think personal growth is huge. Getting around people that are where you want to be. So maybe find a mentor in the industry, find somebody that can help you, that can kind of work through you. Be a student. Don't think that you know it all, because you don't. And you don't know it all. I don't know it all. I still don't know it all. I'm never gonna know it all. And there's always gonna be people where I'm gonna be like, wow, that guy does it great. So use people in this industry. What's great is you're starting to see it a lot more is on Facebook, social media. There's the inspection platforms, where there are inspection groups where people can communicate. Don't use it. The best way to utilize it is for learning and growing your inspection business. Sometimes I see a lot of negativity spewed on it, and it's just a more like a soap opera board at times. Don't get involved in that. Don't feed yourself with negative. Figure out what's going to move your business forward. Figure out how you can be more efficient in your business, and utilize it for that. Don't, I can't believe this jackass said this, or da 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 da. There's no need to exert any energy on bullcrap, and that stuff. So utilize it for what it's supposed to be utilized for, and it's free to do that. I'm always willing to help people. Like you sent that guy over, I'm willing to talk with people and help people too. But I want to help people that really want it, so that are really hungry and really want it. And I'm more than happy to help, whether it's on Facebook, email, whatever, and tell people how we grew and how we did it. I'm always willing to share how we got successful to other people and other companies.
Yeah. Watch what you wish for. You might get a ton of calls after we put this out. But
unless you live in Leesburg, Virginia, no.
Go away. But I mean, even a lesson to inspectors out there. I've done this personally in my life with mentors that I wanted to learn from. You even have to stand out when you're approaching a mentor. We put out jobs. We're hiring. Someone built a website as their resume to send to us to say, hire me. And that just like blew me away. It's like he took the time to build a 2-page website that was speaking to me personally. That's how you approach a mentor. So for those of you out there, if you're wanting to approach someone like Joey, be unique even in that. Like you got to start there and say like, I'm not just going to call him once, and then if he doesn't call me back, you're done. If you really want to seek out someone that's done it and doing it well, approach them with something of value. Offer them something maybe. So a little tangent there, but hopefully someone takes you up on that.
Oh yeah. And that wasn't a pitch, by the way. So
people that seek out mentors, they figure it out, and they're the ones that I think get to those levels. People that just think they don't need it or know it all, that'll handle itself. What excites you about the future of your business next year, this year?
What do you say?
What are you excited about with Donofrio and Associates this year and next year?
I'm excited about the growth and seeing where we're going to take it. See, it's your goals, your vision. It was told to me if your employees have already caught your vision, you need to grow your vision, right? So it stuck out to me like, wow, if they've already caught, I need to keep extending. You need to keep pushing it, extending it. So I'm just excited to get to 15 inspectors. Then we're going to hire another 3. I'm always going to have inspectors in training, because one thing that I've learned is do not grow slow. If you grow fast, because you will lose people, and you don't want to if you grow slow, you lose a couple people the next year. Well, you could be behind the 8 ball. You could be behind from where you started last year. So we're growing a little bit quicker now. So I'm excited to see that. Every time you grow, you're taking a leap out in faith and hoping all the stuff that you're doing is going to work. But I'm really excited to to grow, to keep expanding our business, to keep expanding our brand through social media, to look at other avenues of how we can increase revenue, and all that stuff, to just keep growing and keep improving. But I'm just really excited for these new batch of hires to get started, and to see where we're taking it. So we've started marketing more in Maryland and Arlington, Alexandria, where we live, which is that would be east of us, which is like the busier area. So it's nice seeing that explode. So where I live in Virginia, I'm in a county called Loudoun County, and we've kind of dominated that county. And now we're going outside that. So it's kind of cool to be getting business outside of that, and I teach CE courses. So I love doing teaching. I want to do more. I want to speak on stage like you do, Kevin.
Well, you should be. You should get motivation. You have Tony Robbins-like tendencies. You should get up and speak. As to say, you should be talking at the conference.
So I'm gonna start doing more interviews if I can and stuff, to get our brand, our name out there, and because I want, now that I'm on the management side, I want to be adding value to other home inspectors, to other business leaders, and I want to get value from them too. So I mean, I think that's what our next move is as a company too, is to expand and help other people with their businesses and help them grow as well too. So I'm excited about starting that kind of transition as well.
I love it. And I have no doubt with your approach of giving value and helping others, it just comes back to you tenfold. It's something that's it's rooted in our values of, hey, provide good value, be honest, and it comes back. So you'll be just fine, I have a feeling. Switching gears here, industry-wise, you can't have an interview in this industry without talking about the consolidation, the data sharing, kind of where things are going there. Do you keep your ear to that much? Or I could also see on one hand, you staying above all that and saying, hey, I don't care. We're just going to keep cranking away and provide value in terms of where the industry is going with, let's say, the reports and the data and the control of it.
So I think that, are you mean like that it's going to the cloud, or?
In terms of, so say a client report, with consolidation in the industry of insurance companies getting involved, other home services companies dipping their toe in the industry, do you see more of a consumer shift to, hey, this report is also going to help you now find that handyman or that plumber that you need to fix what I pointed out?
Yeah, well, I think any industry is going to be innovative, and I see that now where it's going through. We really don't. We've made it a point not to refer out contractors, but having a report that can say, oh, now you need to call this person or that person, I think is key. But that's not how we necessarily get our business. A lot of those companies, I feel like, are partnering up with home inspection companies to add value. A lot of us, I mean, what we do with our reports is we have a home maintenance guide that's attached to every report. I think it's on our Expector reports. It was on our old one. But so we're already doing some of that. But again, I'm trying, it was told to me, you should never be competing. You should try to own your industry. And so that's what I guess we're trying to do. And so I guess in a sense we are kind of trying to stay above it, but I haven't really paid attention to it because I'm kind of, as our home inspector, I'm kind of singular focused. So to me, all that other stuff is noise. I still think the old way of you're going to get business by being on social media, being present, capturing email addresses, capturing messengers or Facebook profiles or Facebook messengers, and then office presentations. You have to be in front of people. As we go, and some real estate offices, I'm more concerned about real estate offices that are going to the cloud and that are doing virtual offices, because that's to get in front of them. We're going to have a different approach. We're going to have to maybe get a list of them or get a list of top realtors and start calling individuals, because we're not going to be able to show up to offices. So I know for our marketing standpoint, we've already started to do that. And our marketing people are targeting top agents in our area, where the whole goal is to get them down for a cup of coffee and lunch and explain the value that we can bring to their table or bring to their business. And so that's kind of how we are starting to shift to a degree. We're go after it's like the 80-20 rule, go after the top 20% and then word of mouth. So I'm not too concerned with it now. I mean, as the industry grows, it's always going to evolve. It's always going to be somewhat different. You know, it's like inspection report writing, right? You had the old paper reports, then you had kind of what we were using before, and now we have the best inspection software, Spectora, hands down. And you guys are just incredible work with. The last company that we were with, they just didn't, like you were saying, they just weren't available. And that's why you guys are so successful, is because you're available, you're there for people, and you have a great product that you take feedback, and it's awesome. So I mean, that's awesome. So it's hands down awesome. So
we appreciate that, and I like where you were headed with the cloud-based, because my broker here in Denver that I'm affiliated with is a virtual brokerage. So there's no office that people go into, and there's 1,000 agents that are all doing decent volume that work from home. And so it's a different model. And I encourage everybody to start thinking about, hey, how can I get in front of them? Am I creating a video that's interesting that I can email blast out? Am I trying to get them for coffee? And of course, you're thinking of these things in ahead of the game. So I think there's people that may not get there for a while, and they're going to be behind the game, I think, because you have to connect with people on their computer now.
Yeah, you got to be innovation is key to surviving too. I mean, you got to be innovative, and you got to market. Those are the top two things you better be doing. Always improving, and that's part of growth. If your mission is to always be growing, well, that's growth. Like, it's not just getting more inspectors; it's growing every part of your business and seeing where you're weak, seeing what areas can be improved. And I don't think that ever ends, you know, especially nowadays with how quickly the world changes. You know, that's just part of being in business and doing business.
You're like this. I could take this for what it's worth. I could see you being the next generation's like inspector coach. I'm not teeing you up. I'm not teeing you up for that, but I could see you in the future of being this new generation of like, hey, this is how you grow as a business and as a person. So,
thank you.
On a personal note, let's jump into some personal stuff. Do you have free time? And two, if you do, what do you spend it doing?
So I have a beautiful wife named Stephanie, and then I have a son who's will be 2 years old April 5th, and I really spend a lot of my time with them. So after hours, I'm one of my favorite things to do is give my son a bath. He's now wanting me to get in the bath with him, and I'm like, no, dirty. But yeah, I spend a lot of time with my family. Occasionally I can get out and maybe golf sometimes. I start my mornings doing CrossFit. I just got into that 4 months ago, and I've never felt a workout like that in the mornings. It's just so intense. It feels like when you get through a workout, you're like, wow, I can do anything. Like, this is
great. Yeah, my day can start. I'm ready. Yeah,
my day starts. I start on the floor, and it's great. So I do that, but mostly I'm spending time with my family. I do travel to conferences. I just got back from a conference in Las Vegas, and we kind of made it a little mini vacation. My wife flew out there for the last couple of days, so we saw the Grand Canyon and the Hoover Dam. I'd never been there, and she's never been, so we rented a car. But yeah, always trying to, more now that I'm a family guy, more focus on my health, our business, and then just really, now that I have a son, spending time with him and watching him grow and enjoying that when I can. So it's nice that I do get to work from home at times, but because we've got no point, but it also can be tough to you got to be really disciplined. And so I'm in my home office right now, so sometimes I got to shut the door and but
setting those family boundaries. I'm sure we could do a whole other episode and interview on managing the family, managing the expectations.
Yeah, I'm just lucky my son didn't run in while we were talking.
Yeah. It makes it authentic. It makes it a real podcast.
Yeah.
What do you want to be doing in 5 years?
So honestly, when I look down the road, I want to help people get to where I've been. Keep growing the inspection business. Get it to one of the largest inspection companies, not only in the DMV area, but the nation. And then I want to help. I really truly want to add value and help people kind of get where we've been, um, and keep growing, and not just in the home inspection industry, but in the real estate industry. I run into realtors, home inspectors all the time that, they're just scared of growth. They don't know which direction to turn. And a lot of the information, like I said, we live in a world where there's information overload, and you don't know where to get information. You don't know it's credible. And that's kind of the direction I'd love to be headed in. I want to be able to go to conferences and share our story and do all that stuff so people can learn from me, and add value to their businesses and them.
And what I love what you just said is that it's shocking, having been a realtor and networked with a lot of them, how many of them don't know and apply the things that we've talked about even today. And so I think there's so much room for education for the business savvy home inspectors out there to provide value for realtors, to say like, hey, the stuff I'm doing to grow my business, you could be doing this too. Because you have to remember, a lot of them came from other jobs where they necessarily didn't know how to grow a business. So I think there's a lot of opportunity there.
Yeah, I mean, it's because it's business is business, right? So whether you're selling real estate, you're selling home inspections, it's all you're following the same principles. I mean, a realtor gave me a book to read, and I got so much value out of it. It was written by Brian Buffini. He's a realtor, made success. But I learned so much from that book as a home inspector and as a business owner in a home inspection business. I'm at an office the other day, and somebody was shocked that we had 10 licensed inspectors. And it was a realtor that was impressed with our growth. And this realtor that I was told by the broker does 97 inspections or 97 sales a year. So this isn't like a small time agent.
Right.
And it was like, wow, you're impressed with us? Like, I'm impressed with you, man. Like, that's great. Like, geez, dude.
Yeah.
But so we can all learn from each other. I mean, you look at, the conference I was just at, it was the Grant Cardone 10X Growth Con. None of those guys are in the same industry. They're all different industries of business, but because they're the leaders of the industry, they have so much value to give to people. And I'm like, they're not even in my industry, but I learned so much. I mean, my note sheet was huge, but again, I'm only going to implement a couple things. And that's why you have to keep going to those conferences, because you're only going to take a couple, forget the rest, do the couple, go again, then take a little more, and then implement. So yeah, but I want to help people. I love speaking, and I would just love to be able to add value. That's where I would be, I think, most happy, is if I was helping people kind of achieve the level of success that we've been fortunate to achieve, and that we're still conquering. It was funny. I was listening to, again, Tony Robbins, and this kid says, "Tony, I'm going to be just like you in 5 years." Da, 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 da. And he was all talking. He goes, "I get that all the time." And then Tony said, "Well, that's funny, because in 5 years you'll be where I want to be, or you'll be chasing me again, or I'll be where you were. When you get to where you are in 5 years," he goes, "I'll be where you were." Because he goes, "I continue to keep growing and building myself and keep evolving." And that's the same way as I feel. I want to keep growing, and I want to keep evolving, and chasing the next thing. And I mean, and add tremendous value to people. I think that is huge. If you're just in it for yourself, that's lonely. So I want to add value and be a contributor to this industry and potentially other industries as well.
I love it. I'm wondering if we could do an ongoing thing. I feel like there could be some potential to do a fun ongoing podcast or bounce stuff. So yeah, that we'll talk about that.
Cool.
As we wind down, anything you want to tell us about your business, about you, that we didn't cover, whether it's to agents or other inspectors, just while we're here?
So the biggest thing, I know we as people can be very emotional. There's only one person that we can control in our lives, and that's ourselves. And so no matter how an agent treats you, I remember, doing home inspection. I was younger, and agents would look at you, and it would make me so upset. And maybe you handle them bad. Just always try to rise above the negativity that may be spewed at you, and always be the bigger person. As your company grows, you're going to have complaints that come in. You're going to have people write bad reviews on your site. And it's so easy to get emotional from it. Remember that every complaint is a growing opportunity. Never get in a back and forth with a customer. Always take the high road, and never be argumentative on inspections or places. You know, never throw other inspectors under the bus. Never throw other people under the bus. And I think you'll do it. You'll benefit so much. It's whether you call it karma or whatever you call it. You know, you should never have to throw another, whether it's a contractor, inspector, under the bus to make yourself look good. And just try to keep the emotions out of it and rise above that. And I think good things will tend to happen to you. And take action. If you're thinking about it, and you don't know where to go, find somebody that's doing it. Ask them to help you. And there's tons of people you could ask, not just me, not just anybody else. Go on the inspection forums, ask who's multi-inspector, and ask for their help. I mean, no man has done it alone. What kills me is you look at Forbes' richest people and it says self-made. Nobody's self-made. Nobody's done it on their own. That's the biggest lie that you've ever heard. We've all had help. We all had help. So find somebody that's doing it and copy them. And that's probably the best advice that I could give. And and as you grow, you'll have many more questions for sure.
Yeah, and surround yourself with good people, smart people that you can trust, that you want to emulate. I think this is all great stuff. It's something we abide by. Inspectors that tend to come to us say, hey, I just want a good team of good, sharp people around me that are growing constantly and positive. And you can't lose when you're around that. No. I think it's great stuff. It's how we talk to each other. It's how other people connect. So
yeah, just by conversation, we knew we were good.
Yeah, great stuff. And so you've mentioned a lot of books, podcasts, things and such. I'm going to link to everything in the YouTube description. So anyone that's wondering what's bouncing around in Joey's head or what he's reading or going to read, I'll link to it. I'll link to his website for any agents that want more information. If you've never heard of Donofrio Associates, where have you been? You're living under a rock if you're in the Maryland, D.C. area. Thanks so much for joining. This was fun. We're going to have to do a part 2 because I think we only scratched the surface, honestly, of a couple of topics that I think have a lot more depth to them that we could dig into more. So we'll get something else on the books in the near future.
Yeah, definitely. That'd be awesome. I'd love to be on the show again.
Well, thanks a ton. Joey, great talking to you. You're doing huge things. Inspectors, reach out to people that you find value from. Joey's clearly company doing great. So thanks for being on. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks a lot, Kevin. I really appreciate it. Take care.
All right.